Well, hey, and welcome to the Becoming Better podcast. On today's episode, Josh and I sit down and discuss the Great Chair Heist in Spain. We also dive into Sunday's message, and we talk about our night of worship that we had Sunday night as well. You may notice that Jason wasn't on this episode. We wanted to hold off on answering any of the questions because we wanted to hear the heart behind why he chose those 4 points and have him explain a little deeper on what he envisioned. So if you still have questions or thoughts that you wanted to submit, you can still do that at quadcity.church/podcast. Well, we hope you enjoy this conversation. Hey, how's it going?
I gotta say the thing because he's not here.
Yeah, he's not here.
Happy Monday.
Happy Monday, bud.
I feel like we need to trademark that.
We do. I've been, so behind the scenes, I've been slowly working on stickers for our podcast.
Oh,
so
that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, so I'm excited because Sarah, my wife, is a graphic designer.
Oh, yeah.
So I've been slowly like just, hey, how would you make this? And so she doesn't know yet, but I'm getting there. So
nice.
So yeah, so hopefully soon we'll get some stickers and
people can just put them on stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, sinner.
Yes. Yeah. That one's my favorite. It's all, I got it designed a little bit with like some glitter. Figured some glitter, some shimmer in it. So
got to church up the sinner.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, hey, have you heard about this loo or this theft in Europe?
No.
So this like nice museum with like the Queen's like crown and everything.
Okay.
And a group of people broke in and stole all this stuff.
Really?
Yeah. So they figured out like this one room had like limited cameras and they broke in and were able to steal a bunch of crowns and like very priceless like jewelry and stuff. So it was on the news and everything, but it got me thinking of other thefts that we haven't heard about. So I want to fill you in on a couple that happened in the last couple of weeks.
Okay, fill me in.
So in Spain, they have these chair thieves. These thieves have been going around at night stealing bar stools from restaurants. And they've just been like, you know, the shops close up, and in Europe they like leave their chairs and stuff outside
because they sit on patio.
Yeah,
nice weather.
Yeah, it's nice weather. So apparently there's a group of people going around stealing chairs, and they just got caught. So now we can keep our chairs outside again. The world is right.
Did they say what they're doing with them?
They got up to 1,000 chairs.
That's like some 20-year-olds. They just like
they
started off as like a joke,
gag. Yeah.
And then
they got too big, so they got to 1,000.
1,000
chairs.
Where are you even gonna hold 1,000 chairs?
I don't know. And like, what do you do? Like, sell it back to?
And that's what I'm saying. So the math, right? I don't know what a felony is in
Europe,
but I think in America that is reaching the level of a felony because of the amount of merchandise you've stolen.
Yeah. So they were estimating the cost of $69,000 of American dollars
for some bar stools.
Yeah. So
69 grand.
Yep.
That's foolish,
isn't
That's
it?
Too much.
Yep. So it makes sense why they didn't make main media news. But I wanted to fill you in and make sure you
appreciate that.
So you can now leave your furniture outside again.
My bar stools can stay outside.
Yeah. So,
but the Louvre, I mean, I know that seems. Yeah, you only hear about like art thieves, like this movie stuff.
Exactly, and that's
I don't think it's real life. I don't. Every time I watch it, like you can't really do this. You can't steal from a museum.
And they did, and it seems made up because of like they're showing pictures, and it's like a ladder leaning against the building, and they like broke in through the glass, and it just seems made up.
That's all it takes.
Yeah.
That feels because the movies make it seem like you got to really know what you're doing.
Yep.
Every time I watch one of those movies, I go, I don't think I could do
You're
that.
zip lining 10 buildings across. Yeah, it's
they got
crazy.
the security system that like tracks your patterns, and it goes with you, and it anticipates your next move. I can just put a ladder up on a building.
That's all you need, just a ladder, and you just crawl up. And
it is France, though.
Yeah,
it's,
yeah.
So, any other thefts, or was that it?
That was the only one that I could find.
I thought we were gonna have something. I have a book thief in my office. I've lost a lot of books around the office. They've just disappeared.
Yeah.
I don't understand it. There's been a couple, and I can't figure out where they are. And so there's been a few I've misplaced and I ended up finding. But there's been a few that I'm like, what happened to that book? I had this book. Somebody take it?
Yep.
So there's a Quad City book thief
among us. Yeah.
Among us. So if you stole my book in my office, the Lord knows. He sees.
Yeah, exactly.
Witnesses.
Yep.
Yes.
So awesome. Well, let's jump in. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but Jason is very quiet because he's not in the room with us today. So if you submitted a question, I want to say thank you, and we will get to it, but not today. We're just going to jump in and talk about Sunday. But I do want to encourage you, if you do listen to the podcast, and if you were with us Sunday at either our Sunday morning, or if you joined us for worship night, would love for you to just submit what you thought. I know Josh and I had a bunch of conversations with people who enjoyed both, but really want to hear what you guys think, and we will get to your questions next week when Jason's on the show.
Yeah, and part of the reason is, right, obviously, the whole conversation yesterday was something that was birthed out of Jason's time with the Lord while he was away on sabbatical.
Yeah.
Right? Like his vision as he shared for the church and his direction. And, obviously I'm not Jason and Nate's not Jason. And, I think the Lord, that's his job to shepherd and lead the church. And God obviously spoke to Jason in, a new season in a new way. And I've heard that from several people, right? Even since he's been back, they notice, oh man, he's been refreshed, which was all of our hope.
Yeah.
That he got to be able to do that. So, so we want to allow him to answer those questions and speak into it because, right, he's the leader of the ship here. Right?
Yeah.
It's kind of his vision, right? And so your questions are great. And I'm for sure there are a few that Nate and I can answer, but it feels like this is a conversation that he should be a part of because this is, a really important thing, for him and for us. And so we want to, it's not us trying, it's not me and Nate being like, we don't want to answer the questions without Jason. Right?
No,
like it's not it at all. We actually, there's a high level of value of him being able to speak in and people being able to hear his heart. And because again, it was 40 minutes on Sunday, 35 minutes, whatever it was. But, he's been having this conversation in little drops and buckets with our staff. I mean, we did this.
Yeah.
So our lead team did it, and it was 2 days worth of a conversation.
Yeah.
Right. Our staff, it was 5 hours of a conversation. So we've tried to like whittle it into 40 minutes.
Yep.
Which, I mean, I thought he did a great job, and it was consistent. And it was the same thing that we've heard, just shortened down. So, I think part of that is just the giving him more space to have this conversation. I think is really important. So, to Nate's point, if you got more questions, we've got the questions saved. We're definitely going to answer them and make sure that we kind of have this conversation. So today's going to be a little shorter for those of you, but we wanted to do one because I know a lot of people will get text on Tuesday morning going, where's the podcast?
Yep.
So we wanted to make sure we at least acknowledged and said something and to kind of let you guys know what's going on.
Yeah. So the big thing that I took from Sunday's message was just his heart in it. And,
right. Yeah, for sure.
Just loved. And, a lot of times I feel like a lot of churches, you don't get to see that. Right. And I love that he was able to come back from sabbatical and just give us his heart and what he was feeling, and just being humble and vulnerable enough to say like, hey, these are the areas that I know I'm not succeeding in,
right? But
I know this is what God's calling us to do.
Yeah, man. To that, I've just been in a lot of churches, know a lot of pastors. There's not a lot of guys who would stand up and own like both of those things. Like he owned those that, hey, that's on me. Like again, and I can say because he's not in the room, so he won't throw anything at me. But It's unique. It's really unique.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of leaders who lead like that.
Mm-mm.
For him to acknowledge, the areas where he's trying to grow in his own life. And he's right. The church ultimately looks like its leader,
Mm-hmm.
for good and bad, right? I think the good, right? The passion of the word. We have people who love the word and want to study the word and do that. And then there is this thing again. And what I know of him, he's not saying that he doesn't pray. Like,
No,
I don't want
exactly.
people to
Yeah.
think that, but it is this again, he's a problem solver. He's type A and he's gonna preach, right? And so to just stop and be still and pray, and he's always acknowledged that. So I do think that's a unique thing, and we as a church are incredibly blessed that we have a leader, to your point, who would share his heart and vulnerability, and we get to hear how he's pressing into the Lord and what the Lord is revealing to him, and how we get to benefit from that, right? Like that's all it is we'll get to benefit from that. So yeah, definitely a unique thing. So I just want to make note of, like, if you listen Sunday, that a lot of pastors ain't doing that.
No, no.
They're not owning those kind of things
Yeah.
like that for sure.
And the other big thing that stuck out to me was just the um, you know, it's so easy for us to just think of our ministry, but the fact that his number two was equipping young people to
Mm.
go and learn more,
Mhm.
which, like I said, it just kingdom minded is what comes to mind when I'm just thinking of what Jason said and
Mhm.
what he's saying he wants to double down for the third and fourth quarter, which it's like, all right, let's go. So, and being a part of the high school midweek here,
Yeah.
volunteering with those kids, I see it as well. So I have a front row seat of like pouring into those students and just knowing that my church is backing that with like, hey, we want to support you guys
Yeah.
in this, and whatever that looks like of sending you to uh, college and helping support you financially in that is just another huge win. So do you want to kind of explain, probably fill in people in with the fact that we've already been doing this, but
Yeah,
like what?
definitely. Yeah, so Jason mentioned that there are 2 staff members, so it's the Coreys, Corey Hewitt and Corey Chatham. Both of them grew up here. They went to youth group here, and then they both went away to Bible college, and our church was able to help support that. And, we're lucky that they came home, but that's not the desire. Like, it's these kids that have raised their hand that say they wanna go into ministry, our heart is not that you have to serve here. In fact, actually, the reason we do residency, we have Chase and Kellen, and we've had others before that. Corey, Heward was a resident. It's so that we can help the church at large. To your point, the kingdom
Yeah,
aspect of it, right? Like that it isn't just about us, that we're trying to help equip the next generation, serve the larger global church. That's our desire. It isn't we're only going to invest in these kids if they come back and serve here. Some may and some won't.
yeah,
Likely none of them will, right? I think of our home church where Jason and I came from. I was there for a season, but most of us were not even in that town anymore. And
yeah,
there are people serving there, and there are people there that we don't know. But again, I always think about the investment that they made in me. Has I gone all across the world? Like that's the hope and what our desire is. And again, right? I think Jay, like when he's saying that, I'm just thinking of my home church going, that's what these like farmers and factory workers did.
yeah,
They just invested. They invested in us and poured into us. And like where I recognize that, my ministry is because of that, because they believed in the larger part of equipping the young people to go and serve in the church. So it's awesome that we are going to continue to do that. To your point, we've
yeah,
already been doing that. It's not been something that we've just now doing it,
yeah,
but gonna do it in new ways and really just share, to his point, that he's more committed in it
yeah,
because he understands that the clock is ticking, and yeah, so I'm excited to see the fruit of that. And again, all of our young pastors that we have on the team, yeah, man, we'd love all of them to stay, but the reality Jason and I talk about all the time is that's probably not what the kingdom wants, right? There's a lot of,
Yeah.
unfortunately, a lot of unhealthy churches. And so if guys can come here and leave this place, better and get to go serve another church, another place, man, that's our greatest desire. It's our hope, right? That they get to go do that. So, yeah, I'm excited too for whatever this may mean and how we're able to, serve the Big C church
Yep.
from Quad City.
Yeah. And the cool thing is we've seen it in this study in the book of Ephesians.
Yeah.
We see Paul go in and spend time with the Ephesian church for a little bit, and then he sets up Timothy to take over, and
Right.
Paul's like, okay, I'm on to the next thing.
Yeah.
Obviously
and he met Timothy somewhere else on another one of his missions, and he brings him along, and then he leaves them in this church at Ephesus, and then all these churches they benefit from it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And the Priscilla and Aquilas are there the whole time.
Yeah.
And they just faithfully are serving. And that's what our church is, because there's a ton of people who come here and never going anywhere.
Yeah.
They're finishing here.
Yep.
Right? They've been here their whole life.
Yeah.
And I need you to hear, you're a part of when any of us or any of our kids, anybody from Quad City goes and serves and lives are changed. Like, you're a part of that because you've invested in that, spiritually, but financially. Like, you've invested in helping the kingdom grow, even if you never leave Prescott, because you're investing in the work that we're trying to do with the next generation. So
Yeah.
it is a really exciting thing to be a part of.
And I think especially now, because of how, it's only as good as we allow it to be, but how connected we are through social media.
For sure.
I feel like when you were, back when you started, when you and Jason first started,
easy, Nate, easy.
The technology wasn't there. So it was,
no.
You sent out people, and you're like, we just pray that you continue on this path, and you don't know until, the other side, when we get to the other side. But now with technology, we do get to see that. The other hard part is we do also see the failures of it, of some of the pastors. So it is a catch-22, but it gets me excited to know that, one day we will be sending pastors out, and that's just what we're called to do. So
for sure, man. So there was my story. So again, came from a church. Harrisburg is just a normal, southern town. So nothing crazy, nothing fancy. Obviously there's, wealthy people there, but for the most part, our church was just everyday folk.
Yeah.
Right. And there was a Sunday school group that had been meeting for, I don't know how long they had been meeting, but every Sunday they would take a little offering up, and a police officer, I think he ended up being the police chief. His name was Gary. He would come and give me a handshake. It was like a $20 handshake every Sunday, because I was going to school.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't have anything. I didn't work because I wanted to be able to serve the church. And so I would come home on the weekends. I ended up working 2 jobs when I was in college. I worked at FedEx and Chick-fil-A at the same time, which was just a crazy thing. But you do what you got to do anyway. So I would come home, and he would just give me this handshake. It was like $20, man. And so many times how I would, be able to go out to eat or something during the week. They did that for 3 years. Just every Sunday. He would come and say, hey, we just want you to have this. Is people just investing in me just because they believed in what I was going to do. Yeah. And nobody made them do it. They just did it. There was no we're trying to put some structure behind it, right?
Yeah.
But I think about that church and those people all the time, how they just cared enough to believe in what God had called me to.
Yeah.
And to support that. And again, what to maybe them didn't seem like a lot, right? Obviously, this is 20 years later, and it's a core memory. It's a memory that is foundational in the belief of why, when I talk about how much I love the church, it's because of those things, right? People who support you and love you. And when, because I walked away from a lot of family and friends, and, to get onto the straight and narrow, essentially. And those people stepped in, and they were the fulfillment of, like Jesus says, you'll be rewarded with mothers and brothers and fathers. And they were that for me. And so I think about them often, of just trying to honor that, and honor that, again, because a lot of them, they've been there their whole life, and they'll, when I'm at home, so many of them are the ones who came and supported me as I was trying to bury my mom. I was those people. Like, that was it. If I had called them to and we needed to, do the funeral or whatever, they would have done it in a heartbeat. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, don't even have to wonder, right? And so that's what I want the next generation to know, that they have here in this place, right? That all these kids have a group of people who are committed to helping them go
Yeah.
and stand in the middle of the darkness and preach the good news of Jesus. Like, that's what we get to do. We get to be a part of that. So, yeah. And to your point, it's not for our gain or our benefit.
Mm-mm.
And you get to see it because you see these kids developing, right?
Yep.
And the story that we get to say one day is what I always like. Oh, I knew that kid. Oh yeah, we knew that kid. That's so cool. We knew that guy. Look at what he's doing. That they have that they're able to just impact the kingdom in ways that maybe you and I just couldn't.
Honest. Yeah, exactly. And it's just so cool and so exciting to get excited for. So,
I had, it's funny. So I was listening to a podcast about this, and the guy was talking about, because he sounded younger, and he was just, one of the things he was just struck by was trying to bridge the gap and the balance and around. So many of our podcast listeners, I'm sure have been praying for revival for quite a while. There's a lot of our podcast listeners, especially because we have so many people from California, who are probably on the back end or have their some of their roots probably from the Jesus movement. That's probably the last big movement of our country, 60s, 70s. And there's probably people who have that niche. Man, I swear I was talking to somebody about this. They were saying that they were on the back end of the Jesus movement, and they were in a group right after that. And they said they've never experienced anything like that again. Like, everybody talks about that, just how different it felt during that season. And then you have Gen Z and Gen Alpha, right? So it would be my kids' generation. They're all alphas. And then the generation right before them, right? The Gen Zs. And they are the benefactors of all of the prayers of all of the people who are the boomer generation and some of the Gen Xers, right? Just praying, right? Like, they've just shown up at the right time. They've not done anything.
Yeah.
It's not like they've done anything, right? But there is something, like, they just were the ones who, man, God has chosen to do this thing in. But it's because of the faithfulness of those who have been praying for it for years. And again, I'm sure when the boomers and the X were probably praying for their own generation, but it doesn't seem like that's the one that's catching the revival.
Yeah.
But what you did is you prayed for this thing to change generationally. And that's what we're seeing, right? And so for both of the groups, and then those of us who kind of sit in the middle, right, to help bridge the gap, it is to remind our responsibility is to remind the Zs and the Alphas of, like, no, there's people that have been praying for this for a really, really long time.
Yeah.
And they've been faithfully asking God to move and shift and do something. And he's chosen now to do so because he's chosen now to do so. You've not done anything special. You know what I mean? It's just how God operates.
Yeah.
It's just what he does, And then on the other end is for boomers and Gen Xers and millennials to support and champion and cheer and tell the stories of God's faithfulness throughout the generations, right? Like, so it's not a like, we're not now ignoring this over here for this over here, right? We're not saying, well, the revival's only with the young people. No, man, like, God, we all can experience it.
Yeah.
Right? That's how God operates. But it is to acknowledge, man, there has been people who have been praying for years for this.
Yeah.
Like, years. Every time we say, like, God, we want this land to be all that stuff. This is what we're asking for. And God is just releasing it onto this group that uniquely has this. And there's going to be some things, man, they don't get right. And they're going to challenge some of our assumptions, and they're going to push against some of our traditions. And we better be okay with that. Like, that's the other part is there's going to be some stuff they're going to go, why do you all do this? This is what we feel like God is calling us not to do anymore. We're going to have to go, all right, okay. And so just trust that they, again, this generation does have a little reformer in them. There's something in them, and they've seen enough now because of all of what they've experienced that they're beginning to go, I don't know. And so I'm excited because, again, not one versus the other, but how do we collectively look at what God is up to and seeing what God is up to, and then as a church being able to kind of just get behind that and go, hey, let's see what happens.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
Yep.
and then let's chat a little bit about what happened Sunday night. Let's
Yeah.
jump into that.
Yeah, it was
So,
really cool.
what did you see? What were your takeaways from that?
So we just said, hey, we're going to practice what we preach, and we're going to show up, and we're going to sing together, and we're going to pray together, and we're going to just see what God does, right? And we're going to begin to understand and train ourselves to see what the Spirit of God may corporately look like. You know what I mean? In a way,
Yeah.
right? And just being more open to, hey, right, this is what it is. Again, we still preach the word. We still drawed ourselves into the word. We still use that as a springboard and as an exit thing. Like
Yeah.
that we open with the word, we close. So we're not running away from the word, right? In fact, revival, the thing I've been learning is, revival is always accompanied by repentance. And repentance comes through the word of God being preached. So that we've been doing that. That's what we've done. What we're asking is, hey, is there a way we've not leaned into the Spirit of God corporately?
Yeah.
Again, I'm not saying that individually the Spirit of God is not moved among us, and it's not that God's Spirit hasn't moved, but there is something that is different when you look at if you look at all denominations, they have this thing of God pouring out his Spirit in a way that is markedly different, and people notice, and it does. And revival shouldn't just be a idea of feelings. The point is transformation.
Yeah.
That our world begins to look different because of what God is doing. So like if we're just experiencing something but nothing is changing, then that's not revival. Revival is meant to make disciples who go make disciples. Like that's the thing. And so last night was the beginning of that. Hey, how do we just continue to put ourselves in position to experience God, not for myself alone, but so that I can go out, so that we can in a way be containers for it, right? That we can store up what God is doing, so then I can go and share it.
Yeah.
That's the desire and the heart behind things. And so, so yeah, it was great, man. We just prayed and sang, and there was no agenda. I just sat with my kids and hung out with Amos, and there was tons of kids there, which was awesome. High school kids, but also like 5-year-olds and 8-year-olds, right?
Yep.
And we just get to show them like, hey, you just show up and be the church,
Yeah.
right? So what I love is too, I don't know if anybody had plans last night, but they just said, hey, this is important. We're going to show up. So there is something that at least that room, and I'm sure there are others probably had stuff, are sensing to go, yeah, man, at the end of the day, I just want to experience God.
Yeah.
That's why 80,000 people go to Asbury.
Mm-hmm.
They heard that God is there, and they bought plane tickets to go experience it.
Not knowing where they were going to sleep.
Not knowing where they're going to sleep. I'm telling y'all, Jason's not lying. Wilmore is tiny.
Yeah.
It is a tiny little town. There ain't nothing there. And nothing.
Yeah.
Nada. Zip. Zilch. Zero. There's nothing in Wilmore.
Yeah.
Asbury. That's what's there. But people heard that God was doing something.
Mm-hmm.
And they bought plane tickets or rented vehicles and drove hours to experience it.
Yeah.
What we're trying to say is every Sunday we gather, we want to have that mindset that, man, God may move in a way that we get to experience. Want everyone to go, yeah, I experienced the presence of the Lord today through all of the things, not just singing, but praying in silence, in the word bringing about conviction. And so, yeah, last night was maybe a foreshadow, a taste of, what God can do when his people just show up and go, hey, we just want to see what happens.
Yep.
So, yeah, what were your thoughts, man? You're in the back, obviously.
Yeah.
Always a different view.
It is. And it was just so powerful. Just seeing the people coming in, not knowing what to expect, and us knowing that, we had a sheet of like, hey, this is what we're going to do. Josh is just going to talk up top, but it wasn't really like anything that we put a bunch of like thought into. We knew we wanted to worship. We knew we wanted to pray, and we just opened it up. And I think that was just so powerful. And also just seeing, like you said, all the babies were in there, all the kids were in there, and being able to see, as people are worshiping, other people were coming in and stepping in for the moms. Like
Yeah. Well.
he might fight me on this, but Gary Wilson was holding a baby, so one of the moms could just
Yep.
worship, and just getting to see her being able to openly worship, and
Yeah.
Gary taking care of the babies, and just you just saw that all around. And then we did have a moment where we just prayed, and there wasn't any prompt to the prayer. It was like, hey,
Yeah. Just pray.
grab someone and pray with them. Like, you can pray by yourself, but it's just going to be more
Yeah.
impactful when you grab. And just seeing the groups of people turning around and praying with each other, just was just so impactful. And as I was mixing, the worship band, I just started praying like, Lord, don't let this just be a one-time
Right.
moment, and just praying that this just a snowball effect of
Right.
this is what we're known for and this is what we do. So it just gets me excited. And
Yeah.
just the fact also that I did hear some comments of like, hey, why didn't you guys promote this more? And it was like, no, we just really want to like put
Right.
this out there and just say like, hey, come, and if you want to come,
Right. That's
like there's
exactly it.
nothing else. Like, if you need this, come. And I feel like the people that were there needed it, and we were able to receive it. And there was just a different feeling as we were walking out. I
Yeah.
think that afternoon, or evening, it was just like, just so full.
100%.
Which, as I was thinking about it that morning, like, oh, we got this thing tonight, it was like, man, this is gonna be a full day. And
Yeah,
I know
beautiful.
walking home, like walking into my house, I was like, I could do another service. So I was so
Yeah,
full that I was like,
recharged.
yeah.
Mhm.
But once I laid down, I was out.
Yeah,
But
good sleep.
yeah,
That's right,
it was
man.
such a
That's
good
what's supposed to be.
experience.
Yeah, and so like there is, to Nate's point, there wasn't a ton of planning that necessarily like goes into a Sunday morning. Not to say that like David and Austin, at least they had
Yeah.
conversations about
Yep.
what they were going to sing. There were a couple songs that didn't make it that we ended up singing, right? They weren't on the original plan, and so it's just some of that, some freedom. Again, to your point, we knew we wanted to pray, right? And I knew I was going to open with something. I didn't really know what until last week. I had some time. I was just driving and praying and trying to figure out, hey, what are we doing? And that was the image that came in my head. And so, because I don't want people to hear that now there's just not going to be any order.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Right.
Yep.
Because again, there is, there's going to be, like when you read Acts, so Acts 2, you have 150 people in the room, the Spirit of God pours out on them. And then immediately, right, Acts 2, 4, right, they met together every day in temple courts, and they listened to the apostle teachers, and they broke bread together. Like there was immediately structure that came along with this outpouring of the Spirit of God.
Yeah.
And what's been so interesting is we have been doing I've been reading, listening to podcasts, reading books, right? When you look at Wesley, so Wesley had this entire revival moment. You have Whitefield. They contrast the two of those guys. And Wesley, what he had is essentially what we're doing as discipleship groups. Wesley would get groups together, and they would ask these 21 questions every single time. And it was about sin and how are you living and doing these things. Like we've been priming the pump to have the things that are needed to be able to decide. Like that's the purpose of revival, is to make disciples and create disciples and do this kind of thing. And so we want to be able to have this and do this. And so like that is the part for us, is trying to help us figure this, out. It's not just to do away with all of the other stuff we're already doing.
Yeah.
But it's to actually now channel that into, more people now are coming. And we have these discipleship groups. We want people to experience the Lord. We want people to experience life change. And the best way to do that ongoing is actually to get in a group with somebody,
Mm-hmm.
right? It isn't just to come and experience it on Sunday. It's now to go Tuesday and confess sin with your brother, and to understand that, and then to come back and in a way, to your point, like recharge, fill up again, go do it again, right? Over and over and over. So, just a powerful experience. And we talked today. We don't know what it looks like moving forward. I don't know. Yeah. I think we're still trying to figure some of that out. But of course, we want to gather together and pray together. The Advent season of prayer is going to be that. We're just going to open the building, we're going to pray. It's the same thing, man. There's not a lot of stuff that's going to be around it. And so we just want our people to open themselves up to seeing what God may do.
Yep.
And to believe that God is going to do something.
Yeah. And so that's what I love as we get closer to Advent. I know we're going to be posting more info, but right now we're doing it at both campuses. So if you're in PV, the Prescott Valley office will be open during that time, and then in Prescott the same thing. And then like Josh was saying, we don't know what days that's looking like, but right now we're leaning more towards Sunday through Thursday.
No, it's gonna be every day.
Oh, every day.
Yeah, so
Even better.
Yeah, we're gonna have it
Let's
open.
go.
Yeah, we're gonna have it every day. Right now, like 6 to 9 on Monday through Saturday, and then Sunday mornings is gonna be open when church is open.
Yeah.
PV will have a room. They're trying to figure out which room it will be. Prescott likely will be conference room A, and it'll just be open all day during the service, so people can come and pray before service, during service, after service, right? Whatever it is, and then it likely just Prescott will be open on Saturdays. 6 to 9, but then Monday through Friday. So again, there'll be more details coming out. But yeah, every day we just want to call people, and there will be prompts, every day that we can help guide your prayer. But ultimately, same way, kind of like last night, we just want to pray. And sometimes I may be praying with 3 or 4 other people who are there. Sometimes we may be alone, off praying. Something, you know what I mean? And so we just want to come together and seek God and ask God to move, because God is worthy to be sought. That's it.
Yeah.
And even if he doesn't, God is still faithful.
Say it again.
Yeah. Even if God doesn't bring about revival here at Quad City, he's still worthy to be sought, because God is still faithful. Right. And so there have been people who, like I said, have been praying for 50 years for God to do something different than what is happening. And they've just faithfully been praying, because God's worthy to be prayed to. And so that's what we just want to show up. We just want to show up together and pray together. And to Jason's point, prayer is a weapon that we have that we want to start using in a mighty way.
Yeah. So good. Awesome. Well, that's where we're going to end today. Like I said, if you have any questions about what you heard this last Sunday, submit that in and we'll talk about that next week. But hope you guys have a good week. We'll talk to you soon.